All right, it took a while. It's like asking somebody out on a date, but I finally got you to the Leaders Who Care series. I'm just going to keep you for 3 hours just because to make up for the time. But Nora, welcome.
Thank you. It's so wonderful to be here and to be in conversation and to catch up. We're overdue.
Absolutely. And I just admire so much what you're doing because I love working with kids especially and how it fits into so well some of the things we believe in. So, but we'll start with first letting everybody else know that probably half the audience probably knows at least who you are, but maybe the other half needs to know who you are. And so if you can share not what you do, we'll get to that in a minute. Men
Yeah.
are the worst for that. I ask men that first thing they tell me is their title and then what they do. And that's not the
Yeah.
question. So, where are you from originally? Where are you now? And what you feel comfortable talking about your family and stuff? Maybe something you've never told anybody ever. You want to reveal to the world. That's always fun. But tell
Yeah.
us a little bit about Nora.
Yeah, I'm from Minnesota and my folks still live there. So I've been going back and I'm so excited to be in Minnesota this summer for Minnesota summer living. Like I have two kids, so I'm taking them to the lake, taking them fishing.
I
Uh,
know it, by the way, Minnesota. I lived in Winnipeg for a few years. And
that's Canada, which is close. That's like it's pretty much Minnesotan. Yeah, we're pretty much Canadian. But
well, yeah, I know. And well,
no,
it won't become the 51st state, but you're more than welcome to join.
yeah, yeah. No, it's just like it's a wonderful place to be from. So, and we'll do like a hoot nanny. There'll be a slip and slide. The kids will learn water skiing. I'm like so excited. So I'm very, very Minnesotan. And then I went to school in New York City, and I worked at Target Corp and started my career, which is a very Minnesotan career path, but in corporate America, trying to make massive systems change. And I lived in California after that, working in tech, in nonprofits, trying to figure out what are the best leverage points to create positive impact in the world and to create scale and reimagine how do we do business, not as usual, but do business in a way that works better for human health and planet health. And so I helped build the fair trade movement and took that from kind of niche to mass. And now I live in California and I travel quite a bit for work. So
I know
I
you do. And we'll get to
not
that.
allowed to talk about work, but like
We'll
I'm
get
from
to that.
Minnesota, but I also live on the East Coast, no coast, West Coast. So uh, even though I'm kind of Canadian, seems Canadian, or I can speak Canadian, I have lived all throughout the United States, and now I get to travel around the country creating healthier food systems for kids, and it's so much fun. And I've been loving getting to be a tourist in so many towns across America and getting to explore. I just fell in love with Ada, Michigan. I was in on Whidbey Island having school lunch. So I'm getting to go to these really cool places and fall in love with our country all throughout it.
No, I love it. I love it. You didn't say A once though. So I'm just
You
one
betcha I
thing.
will later. You betcha I
Okay.
will later.
All right, cool. So, what were you like as a kid then? If we're talking about, you have a couple of kids, and I'm sure you feed them healthy. Every once in a while, they probably sneak a candy here or there themselves, but I'm sure. But what were you like as a kid? Were you like Lego, lemonade stand, entrepreneur? What did you do?
I definitely hustled. I definitely like loved, which my daughter was asking me all about, like jobs yesterday. I definitely love always like love to work hard. And I was like I had all sorts of different jobs from mowing the lawn, which I was just home mowing the lawn for my dad and mowing his apple orchard, which was fun. I was like, oh, this is a throwback to one of my many jobs. And so and I was a server. I just had all sorts of
You were a
odd jobs.
server, and when you were five?
No, I was a waitress when I was like when I was like 14 or like so I had like a restaurant job early. I paid for college that way. I had like seven jobs when I lived in New York City. I was like Uber Eats. I was like running around doing all sorts of jobs, working for Equinox Show. I just like had like, I've had a range of jobs and a lot of energy. I've always had a ton of energy, I would say,
I know.
and I know how to channel it. And then I also think I was like fiercely independent, and I see that in both of my kids to this morning. I saw it in my daughter, and I was like, Izzy, I love this about you. And so I have like very independent, very driven, high energy kids too. And so that's been
Who would
really
have
fun.
thought?
It's so fun. And she's very much a CEO, which I love. And so she has her list. Yesterday we went to the store. She had her list of everything we need at the store. She was checking it off. Like she's a planner, she's an organizer, she's, manages me, she's in charge. Like my kids
Any
are fully in
sports
charge.
involved or music?
Oh yeah, tons of sports at our house. Like my kids are both ranked in jujitsu. They're both fierce. They're little, but they are. I'm like, yeah, they are strong and they're ranked really highly in jujitsu. So like nobody messes with those kids. And then they love soccer. We just went for Mother's Day. We went at Mount Tam in Northern California. There was a pancake breakfast, blueberry pancake breakfast at the top. So it was motivational, but the sign said the trail up the mountain would take an hour. And my kids crushed the trail in 34 minutes. They were timing it. They were like, and they passed, there's this concept of taking souls where you like take souls when you're doing a big trail run or as a climber, like running and ultra running, and I've done. And so I was actually not putting the pressure on them. I was taking it pretty easy. I was just like having a Sunday hike of a mountain, and they took every soul. Like they were passing people, like they were passing like fit teenagers. They were just like crushing little crushers. So I have like little crushers
How
of
embarrassing for a teenager, but good job.
and my daughter had like a hiking backpack. They were it was so much fun.
Have
My
you ever
whole
done the grind in Vancouver?
No. Okay, I have to add that.
That's pretty cool too. It's like a whole grind up there. It's really neat, and I bet you your kids can handle it.
Yeah, I'm so excited to adventure with them. My whole goal is just like be strong enough to support and like hang with them and go up some mountains with them and do whatever they put their minds to. So yeah, they're like and they're into swimming, I'm like I just want to give them all the tools and all the experiences so they can live whatever life they dream up. And so it's been really fun to watch them
Did you
just
have
like
brothers and sisters, or do
yeah,
you?
I have a brother, and I had like a lot of close friends in the small town in Minnesota where I was from, so like a larger community. And so yeah, and
There's
yeah.
a lot to be said for community, isn't there? Like in
Ah,
Minnesota and Winnipeg, and those they do have community.
mm-hmm. Yeah, strong social fabric and connections and people talking to their neighbors. Even when I was just home, um, working on my dad's apple orchard for him, which has been really nice to connect, go back seasonally. It's like the neighbor on the left stopped by, the neighbor on the right stopped by. My neighbor that I grew up with was like, "Did I just see you in your parents' lawn?" Like it was like the whole neighborhood was out.
Well,
So,
you know, my last name is a combination of, they said, gardener and man who takes care of an apple orchard.
oh, all right. Well, you'll have to come over for apple harvest in the
I thought you were
fall.
going to make me work.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm game. I'll send an invite. I'll be up.
yeah. Fun.
I love the lakes in the summer there too, and all that. It's pretty great. So growing up, then, did you know that you wanted to go to college? Did you know what you were going to take? What were you thinking at the time?
Yeah, I was like student council president in ninth grade. I've always been like pretty active and pretty engaged. I was like, and they have a really cool program in Minneapolis, Minnesota, where you can go to college during high school. So I was actually able to go to college during high school. And so I got a lot of exposure. And my mom took me to New York City and I fell in love with the energy of the city and just like it felt like the whole world in a city. And I so
Yes,
wanted to
it
be
is.
there. So I didn't even know. Honestly, I didn't know even what like Ivy League schools were. There was one school I wanted to go to, and I wanted to live in New York City, and I wanted that to be kind of like my campus. And so I looked for a smaller school that did that. And so I think I've always loved to like learn. I've always been very driven. I wanted to experience the whole world, and I think travel is one of the best forms of education. And my dad was a pilot, my mom
Well,
loved to travel. And so I think I just always had some travel. Thankfully, like they would save up money and then we didn't take a lot of vacations, but then we did take a couple of just transformative trips where I got to experience the world and I would save up any money with all my odd end jobs to like go travel. And my best friend, Carly, growing up, she loved to travel too. So we would like go travel. We would save a little bit of money and have odd end jobs and then go travel. And I traveled during school and so I think that really between wanting to live in New York City and wanting to learn more about the global systems and how the world works, like that really, that curiosity drove me and to learn about. And I always wanted to like be a positive light and do good and make an impact. And so those things were kind of that curiosity, that drive to be positive in the world, which really
It's
drove me.
we're going to talk about nutrition and nourishment, but that's pretty good nourishment in its own right also. That I
Mhm.
think it's a good advice that you're giving to younger people to whatever it takes. You don't have to, go around the world and whatnot and whatever. Just go somewhere and
Yeah.
and meet different people and see what they eat. We used to say in Montreal, we don't talk about diversity, we just want it type of thing. We want to know what's the Greek family eating? Why are they dressed this way? What's this one? Now, it's fantastic. And so
Oh
it's
my
really
goodness.
cool to hear you talking about that.
Oh my goodness. All right, I just got back from, I was sharing with you, I'm a little bit jet lagged because I just this morning.
But
I'm an
so
early
for the
bird.
audience sake, this is her at half mast. You should see her at full.
Yeah. And so I just got back from my first time going to Sweden. I was at this incredible conference called Brilliant Minds, and then at one called Superhuman. And then I got to be there a day early to adjust and then to go explore and eat throughout Sweden. And it was so much fun. And I felt that like education again. I felt like I was 16 going on a trip, and I just to get to go and see how people are living and what they're eating. And one restaurant, we would like talk to the server or whoever was there, the owner, and we'd say, okay, where's another place we should try? And then they would give us a secret clue, and then we would go try somewhere else, and then we would ask them what we should do next, and then they would tell us. So we like, we went to the Swedish meatball spot, or like, and then got like the amazing berries, and and then we would go try something else, and it was so life-giving to see the food culture, to see Midsummer, which I heard of Midsummer Night Dream, but in Midsummer, the light is so energizing in Sweden. And so to get to go to the different like riverside areas and parts of the city that were really enjoying midsummer light and the long light in Sweden, it was just so fun and life-giving to me to get to meet so many interesting people, try so many different foods, see
And
a
they
city.
send you, sorry to interrupt, but I'm great at it, so I might as well use
I
my
love it.
strength.
Yeah.
Um, and probably going to so many non-tourist places at the same
Yeah.
time.
Oh yeah, neighborhoods you would never just like necessarily walk into, but then that you're getting to explore and see how families are living and see how the kids are treated and how so many people are walking arm in arm. It felt like a very close-knit community there. And so I mean, of course, then I was there learning and getting to go to a conference and hear all these talks and meet people from around the world. So that was really, really fun. But to get to go explore the city, I realized like how much I was learning and how much it was kind of expansive
Yeah,
for my
someone
soul.
told me a long time ago, and it's not the first person I'm sure they told, but they said, you're traveling here and there and everywhere. You got to make sure you at least spend one day there because don't think, oh, I got lots of time, but I'll be back. You may never be
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
Um, and so I love to first, when I get a place, walk around if I can. We were just talking about Vienna to a friend of mine, and it's one of the best walking cities in the world. You can walk around it, and it is amazingly fun. Stop in a cafe and then talk to somebody that's sitting the
Yeah.
table over, the best thing in the world, and talk about an education, right? That you can get, you
Oh
know,
my goodness.
MasterCard priceless, as they say.
Yeah, opens your mind, opens your heart. Like you come back like so curious. I'm talking to my kids about it. It was so fun.
Do you know what the most sought after patch is to travel?
Hmm.
The
No.
Canadian flag.
Oh,
And
makes sense. You mean you do? I feel like you do see that the most in airports.
some of them aren't even Canadian that wear them.
Oh
That's
yeah.
that's why it's the most requested thing that people want. Um,
Yeah.
so you always liked to eat when you were younger?
I mean, I've been always been a foodie, I think. I love food. Like I worked in restaurants. Like I just like, yeah. I think also it's the thing that brings people to the table. It's the thing,
It is.
I haven't always been a good cook, but like I like love taking cooking classes around the world. Like I just think food is that time where you slow down, you come together, you
Right.
nourish yourself, it's something to look forward to, it's something to enjoy. It helps you like slow down time a little bit. And yeah, I think I've just always
And you're creating.
Yeah,
You,
exactly. Yeah.
you're creating this ingredient, that ingredient. Well, and what does one of the comedy shows say? But how do you get it? How is it so good? Because I make it with love. That's what the best
Mhm.
ingredient that you have in
I
there
love
and stuff. So had you before you started, Eat Real and whatnot, did you even imagine that you would be doing what you're doing?
Yeah, I don't know that I didn't this is my dream job. Like I couldn't have imagined a more perfect combination of my experience, my passion, my love of food, my like desire to make the world better. I think everything everything led to some everything like there's some people, one of my mentors, Satya, says it's a constellation of all the things. Like that's what this role
Sure.
feels like, it's a constellation of all my experiences. And yeah, no, I couldn't have dreamt it. But I do see that like this love of trying to make the world better, food, systems change, thinking about what are our current structures, what works, what's working for planetary and human health, what's not working. I think that it all led me to this. And then a lot of it, for younger people that are listening, it was like, really, it's that I believe in building friendships to change the world. And it was a friendship that then would, meeting the right person at the right time. Then they said like, "Oh, did you know about this organization or do you know about this?" And then that was like, it's like so funny. In Sweden, I got a bunch of little treasure clues that lead you to where you want to go. And then in life too, like you look for the clues. And look for, the voices that say this way. And so I think it was like I met various people along my path and my journey that opened doors for me that, and
It's interesting you say that because that's how I ended up trademarking the term leaders who care. I saw along the way leaders that cared about me and other people, but really quick, I turned down my dream job to work for a pro hockey team because I'm a huge hockey fan
because you're Canadian.
because I'm Canadian, eh? And so it was because I started this pro hockey team. It was in Winnipeg. Asked me to do a project bringing kids in. And I
Yeah.
said, well, they're already playing. He said, we want you to do what you did in Montreal, is bring them in so the players can talk about how they got to be pros and what do they eat and what do they this and what do they that and everything. And we had 3,000 kids signed up in 3 days, pre-internet,
Wow.
which tells age, I guess. But the point being is the pro team offered me a job because of that, but the nonprofit I did that project with offered me to be the executive director at world headquarters in Miami at way less money than the pro team. And the president
Mhm.
of the pro team told me to take the other job, the one that offered me that job.
Wow.
And to your point about threads and dots and people
Yeah.
caring, um, that's why I ask people about. I like to hear what they did as kids, anyways. But
Yeah.
there's threads all through all of it. And it might not be a straight line, like
Oh
linear.
yeah, it's a lot of zigzags. I just saw this poster that went viral. That's like this artist. I wish I remember her name. She's super cool. It's this blue art. Which also, when you travel, you're like, you see more art. There's like some incredible art right now in Sweden. There's an installation of a tree that's like, when you're positive mindset, the tree is flourishing. When you're negative mindset, the tree is like without any leaves.
Love
Um,
trees.
but this artist, and it was like life's plan, and it's like starting in a line, and then it's just like you go over here, you go over here, and then you go over here, and that leads over here, and then you leave over here. Like I had a grand plan, I had a strategy that I would work in nonprofit and for profit and government. I would zoom out and think about what I thought was most effective. I would look at what I felt like I was best skilled at. Then I would go and get my graduate degree and my PhD, and then I would go pursue that path. Like I had a plan. And yet then I worked in corporate, I worked in nonprofit. I decided that I liked working in both, and that, oh, and now with Eat Real, we work with all three. And I don't need to specialize. There's a way to work in all three levers, and that's what we do at an organization. And so, it wasn't that I went then and got my PhD in government. It's more that now I found a role that allows me to use my superpowers in multiple paths, and but everything led to this role, and it was a lot of
Right.
zigzags, a lot of turns, a lot of, okay, I'll have an app that I build, but then decide that that's not the be all end all for me. But then I met someone through that led me to something else. So,
And you have
or
to be open to that because they do come up and you have to be open
yeah,
to it. I guess we could call it the alligator, syndrome or the alligator program because the only way you can get away from an alligator that's chasing you is to zigzag. If you go
yeah,
straight, he will catch you. So, there's the call it the alligator plan or something like that. But
Yeah.
so when you
Or
first
I zigzagged and ag, and then I met one of Eat Real's board members who saw me very pregnant. Like he's like very energetic and like and trying to make change in the food system. And he told me about Eat Real. And had I not met Andrew Dietz, our vice chair, I wouldn't have learned about the organization. And so meeting him was really pivotal. And then I met the board, and I fell in love with the board and the team, and like wanted to really scale the work. And so it was like meeting that one person that can change your life or take you under their wing is can change your whole life.
and the moral of the story is maybe listen
Yeah.
and be aware and
Yeah.
type of thing. No, good for you. So when the thing went like
Yeah.
I got to do this, how did that happen?
Yeah, I met Andrew Dietz in Salinas Valley, and I was working for one of my favorite bosses, Sri Artham, and he said, had you heard about Eat Real? And I hadn't heard about it, and I thought, does the world need another certification? I was kind of like not sold on the idea at all, actually, and then I realized, oh, actually, the world does need a certification in schools because the food, 67% of kids' calories are ultra processed. It's the biggest restaurant chain in America. It's bigger than Subway, Starbucks, and McDonald's combined. And so if we change that restaurant chain, that leverage point, and we changed core calories, which is the place where kids consume most of their calories, then we could create health upstream for kids. We could stop disease before it starts. It's like a huge buying power. It can shift whole entire supply chains. Like I was working in Salinas Valley, but if I worked with the school system, I could change how food is grown throughout the country. I could help, and I at that point through Andrew and Dr. Lustig and Dr. Schlein and Lawrence Williams, who's one of the co-founders, I learned that kids are on track to have shorter lifespans and health spans than their parents, and food is the biggest driver. And so I was like, wow, improving school food is the big bet. And so learning about the problem that kids are at risk, some people call it American health collapse, that kids are at risk of shorter lifespans, but food and school food is the best chance at creating health. I was like, this is the call and the job of a lifetime. This is the big bet. And so the org, it was like a go big or go home moment where we went all in and we all came together and we said, let's really try to give this a go. And then a bunch of miracles had to happen. A bunch of incredible angels had to come together and philanthropists and incredible people that came
I
and helped
bet.
build movement with us. And there were a lot of pivotal moments. We had to like survive a pandemic. As a nonprofit was really hard. Like there were a bunch of really challenging moments, and then
What about, for example, you said challenge moments? Schools have tried to bring in major chefs and
yeah,
change the thing and whatnot, but it never seems to work. Why is
yeah.
yours working?
I think it goes back to this, like building friendships to change the world, but we're building this community of change makers. Like we'll have almost 100 change makers this year around the country that then are using our science, our data, our community of experts as their support system. So we're bringing all of this data, these top doctors around these 100 change makers around the country and giving them the data, the support, the encouragement, and helping them create their own playbooks. And so I think that we have a very proven model and we have a very human-centered, that we're creating this network of champions. And so I think that community-centered approach with like a very data-driven proven model
Who
is
was
like
the first
the
school
winning
system?
combo.
Sorry, who's the first school system you signed up?
The first school that we went really deep with, we had dabbled in a few different, like we had done some pilots, but was Mount Diablo, and it was this one change maker, Dominic. Maki was a food service director. He was like, you know, teamed up with Dr. Lustig. Dr. Lustig and I and Dominic met with 40 of their suppliers to try to get them to clean up their school food. They started removing 10 pounds of sugar per student per year. Dominic was like determined and passionate and started to make change. And then it grew and it grew, and we had some other districts join, and then they got their friends involved, and then we went from one state to 10 states, and then
But then you
you know,
got politics and money involved, right?
well, it's like we work in a grassroots way, and then we also try to change culture, and then we also then how do you just change systems, like not just grassroots, but through state policy and national policy. So we've been doing more and more. We helped pass the first sugar bill, food dye bill. We partnered with Assembly Member Gabriel and Environmental Working Group and Food Fight and some other orgs to pass the first bill at the state level in California to define ultra processed foods and prevent the worst of those foods to be sold in schools. So we started to
Mm.
like also then find other partners and other friends to make change with and change policy at the state and the national level.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a
Yeah.
lot.
I have a
And
rock star team, so that's amazing.
no, well, teams win championships.
Yeah.
That's just
Yeah.
it, and all the time. I compare
Yeah.
everything
Our
to
team
sports.
captain, amazing,
Yeah.
Natalie Linden, our COO. She's like, captains matter, so it's like, yeah, teams win
Captains do
championships.
matter.
I know.
Even
Mighty Ducks influence all of us. Like, you got to fly in the V. So,
yes, the infamous V thing there. I notice also cafeteria men and women, they take pride. I see it in them if they're feeding their kids
oh yeah,
properly.
their kids. Yeah, they call them their kids.
I
And they live
bet. I'm
in
not
communities.
surprised.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, and it's delicious. Like, you know what a foodie I am. I've been talking about food this whole conversation. It's like what I dream about. It's like food. But I get to have school
How
food
do you
and
keep in shape if that's
it
all you
is
dream about is food?
delicious. I know. Yeah, I know. Yeah, well, long hikes, like with my kids, like keeping up with my kids, and yeah, sleeping, and yeah, I've had school food around the country. And it is so delicious, and it is possible. Our school leaders are showing that it's possible quickly. Our certification program takes about 23 months, 24 months. And so they get a strong before and after of when I joined Eat Real's program to now, and it's working and it's delicious. Like I had the best hummus of my life in Georgia. I just had kimchi and frozen
Oh, love
raspberry
it. Love
and
it.
like carrots, the cutest carrots grown and harvested by the kids at us
So I
in
want to
one
ask you about
place.
that. So I'm glad you brought that up. So I've worked with schools in different places too, and
Yeah.
a lot in sports. And having a garden next to school is one of the best things you could ever
Yeah.
have. Is that part of the whole program? They have gardening in the schools, or do they grow their own things, or how does
Yeah.
that work?
In our program, they get points in our certification program for food education and real food education. And so it's highly encouraged. A lot of our schools, Morgan Hill Unified, that just removed 34 pounds of sugar per student per year. They also have two freight farms, hydroponic salad. They're launching their own farm where they're going to have an on-school site. They have a farmer like from that graduated from the school on site that's teaching the kids about zucchini and the difference between zucchinis and cucumbers. It's like that's
This is
definitely
back to basics almost,
yeah,
right?
exactly. But it's our program plus a garden program plus curriculum is game changing. And so we're not the be all end all, and it's not like we have our own garden program or we don't have our own curriculum program, but we partner and support districts to connect with other nonprofits to build their own models. And so it's yeah, when you can get that when we change the cafeteria and make that an amazing classroom, and then you add in school garden or some of the schools have there's like fork farms where in the cafeteria they have pop-up gardens or in the class like my little guy just he grew in just TK, which is before kindergarten now.
Yeah.
He just grew a carrot in one of his classes. I don't even know. I don't even know. It was like he doesn't have certain classes. It was just like his general class. And he brought home the carrot. It was like this big. And it was like crooked little cute carrot. And he like brought home so we could each have a bite of it and try it.
Isn't
It
that the best?
was so cute. He
Yeah.
was so proud of it and he was so cute. And like little dude is like eating tons of carrots now. It changed his life.
Well,
So
I'm glad you said that because I've been in sports so long. I know the impact sports has on
yeah,
everybody, and I know 99.7% of kids don't go pro, but they're playing sports, and one of the things that keeps them out of trouble is playing sports, but how they eat keeps them performing,
yeah,
and they learn how to be most accountable, and they love being around teammates. They love being accountable
yeah,
to their teammates. When a pro even leaves or kids stop playing, the thing they miss the most are their teammates
yeah,
and because they were accountable to each other. But those experiences, like bringing home that little carrot,
yeah,
that it's a positive impact. That you'd be amazed how many executives I talk to
yeah,
that tell me at the age of 9 they did this, and the
yeah.
teacher said that, or the
Yeah,
coach
that
put them
pivotal
out.
moment. Yeah,
Yeah, and so. it's so important to mental health, never mind
Oh
everything
yeah.
else. And not to mention, talk a little bit about the thousands and thousands of kids that that's their core meal of the day.
Yeah. Yeah, it's 50% or more. For low-income kids, they often depend on school breakfast, lunch, and school supper. And
Wow.
it's not just throughout the school year. Our schools are doing summer, it's called summer feeding, where kids are getting school food meals throughout the summer. So it's all year round. It's often breakfast, lunch, and sometimes dinner. And so
Yeah.
it's like these kids, it is a nutrition security safety net in our country. Often schools serve more food to kids, especially low-income kids, kids from low-income families, like than local food banks. It is essential for them to be able to learn, grow, and thrive. It affects how they can focus. It affects how they feel. It affects their skin. It affects how they like their mental health.
Totally.
We're doing more and more research on that, and so there'll be more. Then unfortunately, there's just a big research gap. There hasn't been enough research on the power of nutrition and how it can fuel kids' mental health, their
Well,
sports
you
performance.
can't, I mean, I'll say the basic, you can't perform, whether it's
Yeah.
learning or playing, if you don't have the nourishment you need. You just cannot.
Yeah. Period.
So,
Yeah, that's exactly right.
no, I
Yes.
mean, you
No, and
can't.
parents know it. You know it. Your dad, like you've seen it with your kids, with your boys, and like you know. And so, yeah, it's
How does it
life changing.
feel? I'm sorry, how does it feel? Because part of the whole process is with kids that really need the meals, you can create community, but you're also creating hopefully self-esteem that the parents feel that the kids are eating well. Because
Oh
generally, I
yeah.
don't think any parents don't feel good about not being able to feed their kids for the most
Yeah.
part. But you can create a whole community, and when you create that self-esteem and that you're enough, there's another nonprofit I'm involved in where you're enough,
Oh yeah.
you are enough who you are type of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Um, I think that should be part of what you're creating there, I would think. Do you get
Oh.
comments from the parents of the kids that are eating at school at
Yeah,
all?
we're studying that actually with Stanford with Professor Christopher Gardner, who's
Oh, cool.
wonderful. Behavior change and looking at that. And I think we're digging into that now, but we hear anecdotally from parents all the time. Like one we hear, it's like when they can trust that school food is healthy and delicious and nourishing to their kids, it's releases their mental load a little bit. It gives them a little bit of
A
relief
lot, I think.
and that like causes less tension between couples. That causes them to just it's easier on their pocketbooks. It's like they don't it's like takes so much time to pack school lunches. And if you can just, t you have to go to the store, you have to prepare it, you have to like switch it up. There's all these like viral Instagrams about bento boxes and like it's like a lot of pressure to like make it look cool and good. And if you can just trust that school food is amazing, like it's such a relief to the parents. And then for the kids, it reduces the stigma, it helps them feel really good, it helps them like learn to love real food and like try that carrot and then want to eat it at home. And or we had a football player who didn't like there were no meals left, so they had to try the school grown salad. And Michael Jockner at Morton Hill said, just trust me, try it. And he was like, this football player was reluctant. He had a big game that day.
A big
He tried
football
it.
player,
He
real
tried it
men.
and he came back and he's like, I'm a salad guy. Like, I am a salad guy. It's official. That was amazing. I crushed my game. That was great. And
Isn't
so,
it
like,
true that
seems to have
real men do eat quiche, as far as I
it.
understand? They even
Well, it's
cry
like
sometimes.
kids I mean, this is why we focus on kids because when you give kids the tools and the knowledge and the access to real food, they want to feel good. They don't want to have the tummy ache. They don't want to feel like they don't have any energy for track or for their
Hmm.
soccer match or for tennis or whatever it is that they're doing. Like, people want to feel good. And so, if you can give them that support and help them develop healthy habits earlier, that's how you stop disease before it starts. That's how you set them up for success. Like, 1 in 3 teens in America is pre-diabetic. Like if you're having that kind of sugar spike, if you're like not, if your metabolism is off during puberty and you're
Sure.
setting yourself up, you're higher risk for so many complications early on. We're seeing fatty liver disease, which used to be a disease of alcoholism, fat accumulation around livers, show up in kids because kids are
Wow.
drinking a bathtub of added sugar a year. Like our kids are sick in our country. Majority are not feeling that great. And the biggest driver is ultra processed food. And so if we can actually get kids healthy calories and help them feel empowered and strong and healthy and focused, then we're going to change the health trajectory of a generation. And that has compounding impacts because then they have kids, they have healthier pregnancies, they have healthier children. Like one in Dr. Palmer, who's on our medical advisory board, talks about how if your or your dad is diabetic and obese, you're 4 times more likely to be autistic. Like, how do we just not have diabetic and obese parents so that we have less autism in our country? Like, this is how you create change upstream and create a healthier overall population. And our
100%.
population, our youth are at major risk right now. I can't underscore that enough. So it's like operation make massive change fast. And so, but
Yeah.
it's, and we can change lives, we'll change health trajectories, we'll change our economy since, like trillions of dollars are spent on sick
Uh,
care,
Fruit,
treating
Fruit,
diseases.
Fruit Loops and Frosted
Yeah,
Flakes and all sorts of stuff. You're talking my love language, as they would say, type of thing, because we have to have multi-generational impact, which is
yeah,
something I want to talk to you even more about. Well, you know this in LA, we say we got to leave them wanting more so we can do a sequel. So we may have
yeah,
to do a sequel, but I do have one more question I want to
yeah,
ask you. With everything that we've talked about, with everything that's happening in the world from COVID to everything else that's going on,
yeah.
what are you most grateful for? And what are you most hopeful for?
Yeah, I mean, I'm grateful every single day that I get to like wake up and it's like, that it like I get, I'm most grateful that I get to be a mom and that I get to help, that I get to experience this like beautiful, precious, too short of a life. And so, my job is to help kids get have longer lives, have healthier lives, have more vibrant, happier lives, and see and experience like more sunsets in their lives. So I feel like my job is to enjoy sunsets, to help my kids
There's
enjoy
never a bad
sunsets.
sunset.
Yeah, enjoy more and like to live like like be a life expander for, I want to live a vibrant life. I want my kids to live a vibrant life and I want American kids and kids around the world to live their most vibrant lives. So I'm hopeful that food is one of the most nourishing ways we can create vibrant lives for kids across America, across Canada, around the world. And so I'm
That
most
was your
hopeful
chance to
that
say A, by the way, and you still haven't said it. So you got
oh, I know, I know, I know. I have like Minnesotan jokes. That's part two. People have to tune back in next time. But
right.
I have extended oldie jokes um, but I'm most hopeful that we can nourish our kids to live vibrant lives and we have the answers and real food is one of the best chances to create health and real food at school is one of our best chances to create health for generations in our country. And I'm so grateful to work on it. And I'm so hopeful with more people getting involved, more philanthropists getting involved in Eat Real, more people bringing Eat Real with eatreal.org/parents. People can go on the website and help bring Eat Real to their school with more parents getting involved, more kids. Um, there's a blog by a student, Anya, on our website at eatreal.org talking about a student getting involved, more student getting involved. Like, I believe this is a movement, and I have a lot of hope that the real food movement can scale and we can change the health for generations to come.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm more grateful and hopeful for the same thing. I have a new friend that I finally met, but still not in person. And
Now that I know where you live,
yeah, I'm here. I'm here all
I
the
feel like
time.
we fly past each other and like high five in the
Yeah, it's
air.
like
It's
what's
like
going
you're flying from SoCal. We're like we almost met in New York and we did it. So I know we'll meet soon.
It's coming. It's coming. And I'm also grateful and hopeful that you are truly a leader who cares and making a difference. So way to go. The kids are the whole ball game for the future and the generations ahead. So thanks for all you do. Thanks for being on the series and really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you so much.